This is just some rapid fire questions that I have gotten on TikTok and Instagram, and people have asked me over the past month. And I am just going to make this video answering these 10 questions. All right, so let's just dive into it. First question is, what's the best advice you can give to parents for having the sex talks? To simply put it, my best advice is to get prepared. It is so much easier to have a sex talk when you know it's going to be coming up. I'm preparing for the talks that I know are coming up, that are in this age range. And it just makes it so much easier because I don't have to know everything. I don't have to brush up on everything. I just got to be prepared for some things. So that's what I try and do and help parents with, is just getting prepared. Question number 2, why did you create Topics in a Jar? So I created 2 topics in a jar. One is teens topics in a jar, and one is puberty topics in a jar. I created teen topics in a jar as a way for parents of teens to get the talks going. It is 30 questions. It is designed with the information to help them start the conversation, tell them why they've had no talks, why they want to start having talks now. It's a question and an answer, which really makes it nice because then the parents don't have to wait for their kid to ask the question. They literally just read the question and they don't even have to think about the answer and read the answer. And what they are doing is, even if their kid doesn't say anything, they're getting that information to their kid. Their kid is hearing that information. So it's really, really simple. And it was really designed for those parents who are reaching out to me, just being like, I wish I would have started sooner. So yeah. Now, puberty topics in a jar is something I created because I really like the idea of teen topics in a jar, but I didn't have a teen. I had a kid that was about to go through puberty. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to read another book. I don't want to be like, okay, now we're going to talk about puberty and here's some books I got and let's look through them together. I didn't want that. I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be, like a game. And so I created puberty topics in a jar. I introduced it to her like a game, like a challenge. Like, if we get through all 30 questions before the end of the month, then you get, I think the original one was a yes day. Like, you and me will spend the day and you'll know I'll say yes to basically everything. And she thought it was really exciting. So we ended up starting it and it was fine. We did one question, we did another question. And then one day she was like, can we do like 2 questions? And I was like, sure, absolutely. And then she was like, can we do more questions? I was like, I think 2 is good. Because I wanted it to not just, I wanted to keep it short and keep it fun, right? So we did that and it was going really well. And then one day it was super busy and I was in the kitchen cooking and she came in, she was like, Mom, we forgot to do the puberty topics. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, go grab the jar. We'll do it while I'm cooking. And so that's when I realized that this activity, puberty topics in a jar, teen topics in a jar, is a great strategy for parents who don't want to think, right? Because the question and the answer are right there. What do you think of Corey Silverberg's book, What Makes a Baby? So I got asked this question, I believe it was on Instagram. And when it comes to the book, What Makes a Baby, there's people in 2 camps, people who love the book and people are like, I don't know. It just kind of was really basic. I'm somewhere in the middle with it. I don't love it. I think it is a good book. And I think it has its place in very early years of explaining where do babies come from. I think it has some elements of it that once a kid gets to around age 5 or 6, or at least for my kids around that age, the book was too basic and they wanted more information. And so that's when we shifted to another book. I think it was like The Stork, Roby Harris's book. And there was so much more drawing, so much more information for their age that it answered more questions. It was more visually appealing, whereas Corey Silverberg's book was very simple. And so another thing that people love about Corey's book is the fact that it's gender neutral and he doesn't use any like he or she pronouns or males or females in the book. just describes body parts and that some people have it. And it really lets the kids decide for themselves who those people are. And it gives you an opportunity to talk about like transgender, or if you are in a transgender relationship or family, it allows for that conversation to happen. And I think that can be very positive. Now, this next question, they actually asked about a specific sex educator, and I'm just going to keep it general, okay? So they asked, what do you wish other sex educators would do or not do? And I'm just going to kind of combine this as like all the other sex educators out there who are trying to help parents have these talks. I think what makes me different to other sex educators is my approach. I was a sex ed teacher in the classroom. I saw what kids were asking. I am a parent. I hear what my kids are asking. And I also worked with parents while I was a sex educator. I would talk to parents before delivering sex education to their kids in the classroom. And what parents thought their kids knew versus what kids would ask me in the class were completely disconnected. Parents really thought that I was pushing this information on their kids instead of their kids asking these questions, but not asking their parent because they didn't feel comfortable, but asking me because I created a safe space in the class. So my approach is really to help parents where they are, right? I'm not going to tell a parent, you must say this or you have to do this at this age. No, right? Because every parent has a different background or culture or religion. And I'm going to say, okay, why is it that you want to do it at this age versus this age? What are your reasonings? And we can work on that, because that's my whole thing, is everything can be taught in an age range. There isn't necessarily a perfect age to have the sex talk, but there's a range and there's things to be looking for. And if you know those signs and what to be looking for and how to build up your confidence and get prepared to deliver that information, because if you're not confident, that's going to come through in the conversation with your kid, for sure. We're at question number 5. Do you think there's an age where you just can't have the sex talks anymore? This is a really good question. And I think what this question was getting at is, do you think there's an age like 16, 17, if you didn't have the talks by then, you're done. And I don't believe that's true. I believe that the talks are different. And you cannot go into a conversation with a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old in the parenting mindset of, you must do this, or you should do this, or you have to do this, or don't do this, right? We always are saying don't do things as parents. Because if you go into a conversation with a teenager like that, a 16, 17-year-old, they're going to shut down because in their mind, they are grown up, right? They can make decisions. They basically have an adult body, not an adult brain, right? Their brain is still forming. And so when you go into a talk like that and say, do not do this, or you must use a condom every time, or do not have sex, when you go into it like that, they're going to shut down. I really encourage parents is if you're going to initiate the sex talks at that age, try the teen topics in a jar, because you're going to get through all of those major conversations, those major topics, and talk about relationships and talk about dating and talk about masturbation and sex and also as porn. And you're going to be able to have those conversations in a way that is not you must or you should or you shouldn't. It's going to be in a way that says, hey, have you considered? Have you thought about? Have you asked yourself this question? What would you do in this situation? And it helps them with their underdeveloped brain, their prefrontal cortex, that decision-making area of the brain that's still being developed. By going into the conversation like that, you are going to help build that. You're going to be their prefrontal cortex. You're going to get them to stop and think all of the potential consequences. So I do not think there is an age you cannot have a talk. I do think every age you got to get prepared, and there's a different way to approach it. We are halfway. I am going to jump into the next question, but if you are finding this video to be helpful, please go on and hit like. And if you are new here, I make videos for parents on how to have the modern day sex talks. And if you are finding this video to be helpful, you can go on and subscribe to my channel or share this video with another parent friend who you think might find it helpful as well. This one made me laugh. Do you call yourself an influencer? And I don't actually ever refer to myself as an influencer, but that is technically what I am. I make videos, I make content to influence parents and get them to change their behavior or stop avoiding a talk and start having a talk. So technically, I am influencing, but I don't call myself an influencer. So maybe I should call myself an influencer. I think of myself as more of a content creator, but I don't just create content and leave it. I do work with parents and I do help parents and guide parents to have these talks. And so maybe I am an influencer, I guess. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. Do you think I'm an influencer, a content creator, a teacher, an edutainer? I don't know. What advisor, consult? I don't know. You tell me what you think. Next question, do you like making videos? And the answer is yes. Yes, I absolutely love making videos. I do all my own filming and editing and, script development and all of that stuff. And I love it. When I was actually in college, when I started university, this was back in the early 2000s, I actually started doing a video production track in communications. I kind of wanted to go into, television, and I wanted to work in television. The problem is at that time, everything was still on film. So we were still loading film into a VHS, into a camera, and it was really big, and you were going out and you had to book time in the editing suite because not everyone's computer, I think my computer had 16 gigs memory. It was so tiny. There was a cusp, 3 years later, everything kind of went digital. There was, the Mac computers were better. iMovie was there. I was using Final Cut Pro in the editing suite, but things were getting digitized. And then if I could have done the editing in my dorm room, that would have been so much better, because then I could have done it at any time. But anyways, I love making videos, so I'm not going to be stopping making videos anytime soon. I think it's really fun for me, and I do enjoy it. Next question. What's one secret about the sex talks that you wish parents knew? The one thing I wish parents knew, kids want to talk to their parents. They have questions, and they will read every single nonverbal cue from you, from your lack of eye contact, from the way you bring up the topic, from your body language, to realize that you feel uncomfortable. And they do not want to make you feel uncomfortable. So they will not bring up the topic because they have gathered from you that you don't like talking about it. And I'm telling you, if you find the strength to reach out to me and to get prepared, join my course, build up your confidence to say, you know what, I know that this is a talk that is important to be having, that is age appropriate. I know how I want to bring it up. I know the layers of it. I know the potential questions that they're going to ask. You're going to be able to completely change around your vibe around your kid when you bring up a sex topic. So parents, your kid wants to talk to you. Absolutely. Get prepared. So this next question is a bit topical because it's been in the news lately. The question is, what do you think of Lily Phillips, the woman who slept with 101 men in 24 hours? So what do I think of her? There's loads of sex workers out there, but that's the one that we're currently talking about. And no, I haven't watched the documentary yet. I do want to watch it. I just have not gotten around, found the time to sit down and watch it. But, she's a sex worker, and she has found a way in a very oversaturated market to get people talking about her. And that, I'm sure, is helping her. When you really think about it, me and her are both doing the same thing. We're both making videos for money. I know I make pennies compared to how much she makes off of her videos, but that just goes back to what people value our work. They value her work more than my work. They're willing to pay to see her work more than they are willing to pay for my work. Sex work is work. And there is a reason why so many content creators will make videos, these humorous videos, being like, oh, you know what, maybe I should just stop what I'm doing and create an OnlyFans. But they don't. They don't create an OnlyFans because it's really hard work. And at the end of the day, right, not many people are willing to put in that time and effort to do that work, but they're willing to do other work. And so, you know, what do I think of her? I think she's working and she has found a way to make herself stand out and probably make a whole lot more money. But there's all these, you know, people talking about ethical considerations or moral considerations, you know, whether it should be done on camera, whether it's impacting her mental health. There is so many comparisons that I think we could talk about in terms of, you know, what work is, you know, eating away at our mental health or making us feel hollow inside. But at the end of the day, we are doing the same thing. We are making content for people to consume. And if you want to support my work financially, just watching this video all the way through and watching the ads is helpful. I do make money off of that. It's not a lot. I don't have millions of subscribers, but I do make some. If you want to support me financially, you can buy me a coffee. If you ever use something that I said in one of my videos and you use that in a talk with your kid, or it helped you have a talk or answer a sex question, feel free to buy me a coffee. I would really appreciate it. Or you can support me by joining my Top Talks course and getting prepared in a systematic way, in a layered approach, or one of my digital products that I have. So there's many ways that you can also support me and the videos that I make. Last question. Do you think sites like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube suppress your work? Do I think they are actively targeting my videos to not push out? No, the videos that don't get a lot of views are probably just not great videos. And then there are videos that get more views. Do I have a team behind me helping me to make these videos and, you know, make the copywriting really good or make sure that the hooks are really good? No, it's just me. And I do this to make a part-time salary that helps me and my family. And I don't have a team behind me. I wish I did, but I don't. So do I think these social media platforms are suppressing my work? No, I don't. Do tend to notice that if a video doesn't get a lot of views or whatnot, I don't want to look at the numbers. I want to look at the content because that's the only thing I have control over. Is what can I do to make better content? What can I do to make this content so that the algorithm says it needs to go out to more people? But I also know that I have a topic that is very sensitive and many parents don't always want to, you know, comment or like a video because that leaves around a digital footprint, right? And they don't want to talk about their child on that platform, or they don't want to like something and, you know, it can get back to them or some way. So I think there's a lot of lurkers in my videos who watch it, find useful things, but never tell me. And, or at least I like to think that. I don't think anybody is shadow banning me. I don't think anybody is suppressing my content. I think I just need to make better content. And I'm trying to make better content. I had fun with that. That was nice. I enjoyed answering these questions. So if this was something that you enjoyed hearing me just answering these questions off the top of my head, leave questions in the comments. Let me know some questions and maybe I'll make another video like this where I answer another 10 questions. All right, thanks so much for being here. If you found this video to be helpful, of course, give it a like or share it with a parent friend who you think might find it useful as well. I'm Kathleen, and I'll be back next week with another video on how to have the modern day sex talk.